Hi, this is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. I filmed a video Thursday and I explained to you my concerns about a line of storms we had coming through Friday and about freezing temperatures that we have, on the books to come in Sunday morning, and then now they've even added to Monday morning, the lowest temperatures being Monday morning. Well, I explained to you my plans to get with it and to wait till after the storm lines came through, which I'm glad I did, because the winds were not nearly as bad as they said. The rain was not nearly as bad as they said, but my plants did get some rain. So they got a good watering from heaven, which is always better than a watering from a water hose. I let that happen. It rained pretty much, sprinkly rain, most of the day yesterday, but about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I got out here and got busy. And it took me till after dark, but I got everything covered. And it was a job. And then, as it was getting colder and colder while I was out here working, I still was very ill at ease because I just didn't know if it was going to work, because at first they were talking about temps getting down to 33. Now they've adjusted it to 29. But I just said, all I can do is the best I can do. So I got busy. And I'm jokingly saying, even though it's terrible that we all understand what I'm referencing, but my yard now looks like California homeless encampments. That's what it looks like, and that's what I'm working with. I see a little bit there I need to duct tape. I've got my duct tape on my arm right now while I'm talking to you. I'm kind of going around this morning buttoning up things. Last night the temperatures got down to the low 40s by this morning, and that's cold. It's cold for just walking around outside, but for my plants it wasn't freezing. However, we've had a few nights of that lately with the other front that came through, and I felt like they were probably already getting a little stressed. So I just went ahead yesterday evening and started covering everything. I don't know that I'm doing everything just perfect. I know there's probably plenty of videos you can go watch to find out how to do things perfectly. I'm doing things the best that I can. I have a lot of little mounds. You see all these blue tarps? That's the little mounds I had planted my pumpkins and melons and winter squash in. I just bought dollar store tarps. You'll see it's bumped up in the middle. What I did was I took different things I had, the little chairs and little iron things I had on my front porch. I took buckets, I took laundry baskets. I've basically raided my yard and my house of everything that could possibly be used out here to do all this. Boards, stones, everything. And I just got with it. And so I put things in the middle, or if I had a big plant, I even put several things in the little bed so that the big plants would not be sticking up along the edges, so that when I drape the tarp, all of the plants are below the tarp. The tarp's not laying on any of the plants. So for this bed, this worked. Under here are my butternut rugosa and my North Georgia candy roaster winter squash under that tarp. I had a little bit better tarp. I don't remember where I got it, but it was an 8x10 that was a lot thicker. I think it's pretty much windproof. And I put it over here over my Ford Hook gems. I think I may have maybe 1 or 2 Ford Hook gem seeds left in my packet, but pretty much I was counting on these getting here this year after the devastating year I had with them last year, and I want to save seeds this year. So I really put a lot into covering this. I've got several things here to make sure my plants aren't just touching the tarp, and you can't see it, but there's things under there that are keeping the plants from touching the tarp. And I'm hoping I can save these Ford Hook gems. This is my pumpkins, my Cushaw green striped, and those are pumpkins, but then I have a Miss Amerson's winter squash that's under there. I have milk pans under there, laundry baskets. I have just a Rubbermaid bucket under there that actually has tools in it, but I stuck it under this tarp to hold things up. It's kind of fun after a while. You see all my boards. I was saying a while ago in another video that I had a big board pile over there. I was hoping those beans would kind of hide. I have lots of little scrap boards, and my goal was to make some benches out of all this whenever I get time. Under here are some more pumpkins. And over here, I had a nice little tarp that covered up my green husk tomatillo plants that I planted. So, and this is a really good tarp too. So I'm hoping that with no wind hitting this and no freeze being able to get right on top of my plants, I'm hoping, I'm just hoping that I'm doing everything the right way. For these larger sections that are about 20 feet long, it's so funny. I'm sure coming down the road, people think, my goodness, what is she doing? But I'm doing whatever I can. And I think it's working if my thought process is right. I'm no expert, but I think it's working. What covers this actually is 2 3-mil pieces of plastic. They're 10 foot by 20 foot. I looped one over, and then I looped the other over and taped down the other side so that it doesn't blow. And then, of course, it wasn't long enough to cover my ends. So on this end, I had to put another tarp, and I used all those concrete blocks and different things I have to hold it down. And just so that it wouldn't blow open, I taped it all down too. Now, I'm thinking if you can see this on camera, it's creating condensation on the inside of these tarps. It's 40-something degrees out here. And you can see these little stripes here. I always have dirty hands because I'm always doing things in the dirt. But you can see these little stripes here. That's drips of water. My thought process is telling me that that's okay. My thought process is kind of telling me that you're creating a greenhouse effect inside of this tarping, and that's okay. I hope that it is. I can't imagine that it would be better to have a lot of cold going up in there. I'm thinking, since I'm trapping out the cold, that's better. And it's making kind of a greenhouse effect in there, which is keeping the plants warm, I'm sure, from the heat of the earth. But I wanted to show you another little bit that's kind of showing me. It's kind of hard to see sometimes on camera, but there again, I don't know if you can see, this is pretty clear film, but it's made a haze of moisture. It's made of a haze of moisture all along there, which tells me it's heating up on the inside of this. And that's okay, because tonight, well, by the time we wake up in the morning, it's supposed to be around 32, I think. And then by tomorrow, it'll go up to 50 during the day, but then by Monday morning, they're saying 29. So I'm thinking if I basically have created some little mini greenhouses, that they'll be able to withstand those 29-degree temperatures. This one is not condensating like the other one was, but also one of my ends on this one was flapping wide open when I got out here this morning, because I didn't get to do the duct tape before it just got extremely too dark last night. I was out here in the dark, but I mean, it was getting later and later, and I just couldn't see very well. So I had to come out here today to do the duct tape, and I fixed that part that was flapping open on this end. On this end, I did have to use a sheet because I just ran out of tarps. I ran out of plastic tarps or anything I could use to make it. I know wind might go through a sheet is what I'm getting at, and wind may not go through a tarp, but that's what I had. So I'm hoping it kind of seals that off. This one may not end up condensating like the other one did, but that's okay, as long as the wind is off of them, as long as they kind of have that heat of the earth trapped in there, because our soil temperature is still 64 degrees. It's dropped to 64. It had gotten as high as 73 in the last few days, but it's dropped to 64. So I'm hoping that soil heat, that's still pretty warm, 64 is still pretty warm, I'm hoping it'll kind of make this like little mini greenhouses. I had to use a sheet on this end as well. Didn't want to do that, but you gotta do what you gotta do. This one is covered with a regular tarp. You can't see it, but there are boards under there. And then I flapped it over and put rocks. So I do have boards and rocks holding that down. I had a tarp on this end. And then this end is, let's see, 1, 2, it's actually 3 tarps. 3 different colored tarps running down here. All duct tape, and I have some bungee cords kind of through the grommets there and tied to my azalea plants. I have it also done at that end to keep that flap from blowing over, and then in the middle I put duct tape. And I just bought me some duct tape at a little hardware store down the road, and this duct tape is very, very good. I don't know the brand. It's not regular duct tape, it's not Gorilla, but it's very, very good. One thing that's causing me concern is all of a sudden my beans, even though it's cold, my beans are popping up. They're just going crazy. That's my Mary's meat beans. On this side, they're really popping up. I only have a few, they're right over there. I only have a few tobacco worms coming up yet. They're very, very slow coming up. Ooh, my dogs have ran through it. Oh, that makes me mad. And then down here, this is the Italian black swamp beans. And I mean, they are coming up big time. So I'm gonna do something. How much can you invest in tarps without going broke? But I'm gonna do something to get out here. I don't want to lose these beans. These beans, well, all of them, actually all of these. All 3 of these beans I have planted here are heirlooms, and I planted all my seeds, so I don't have any more seeds. I wanted to show you one more thing. Those long plastic, clear plastic boxes, those are covering my avocado trees. Of course, they're just little plants right now. They're little plants. But the same thing is happening. These boxes are getting a lot of moisture underneath them. So I think it tells me that they're pretty much trapping in a good bit of heat and that they're keeping these plants warm. At the end, I had to use a couple of Tupperwares on top of some of them because I ran out of those boxes. Then I have just regular Tupperware over my Kajari melons, and they too are showing some moisture. So I know the plants are warm right now. I just put buckets over all my Italian heirloom tomatoes and my honeydew melons. Just gonna leave them like that. And then I put little black buckets over my 2 Mamie Brown pink tomatoes. And just regular Tupperware bowls and little Dollar Tree bowls that I bought at one point. Anything I could find, actually. I put over these Mexico Midget and Matt's Wild Cherry tomatoes, and then these 2 right here are my Iroquois melons. Anything you see uncovered like that is corn salad, and it can take cold weather, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm doing the best I can, and I'm seeing some positives. I'm seeing some little holes that I need to fill, like with my beans and everything, but that's how you learn. I kind of woke up this morning with a little bit of, well, and the wind was blowing a lot, and I was like, well, with all this wind and with all this cold coming in and 29 degrees now, I don't know if what I'm doing is really going to help. And then after I came out here and saw the moisture and I saw the condensation, and I peeked in on one of them before I duct taped the end, and they all looked happy. They all looked happy and they look good. Things can happen. You just have to, you have to have hope, but you have to do the work. Today, last night, I'm doing the work. And after that, you can at least say you've done the best you can do. I've done the best I can do. I've protected them. I've worried about them. I've planned. I've executed. I've done the best I can do. This is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. I'll update you later after this really cold temps come through, and I'll let you know how everything turned out. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.